And welcome back. And that question of the day getting a lot of traction on social media this morning. But of course, there is a legal provision to this, which we'll get into shortly. But just a reminder once again, if you received money in error, would you actually disclose it? Or would you spend it at Morning Live and using the hashtag Morning Live as well?
I'd like to say that most people have said, no, I'll give it back straight away. I'll report it. And unfortunately, not too many of those responses. Here is Ganesto saying, I can't disclose it. I spend it without fear or favor. All right, Ganesto, thanks for your honesty.
And this one is Tetelem, who says, I'll spend it because anything that goes into my personal account is mine.
What's mine is mine, and that's the end of that. Vungani saying, I won't spend it. I'll report it because at the end of the day, it doesn't belong to you. They will trace you and you will end up in big trouble or even possibly in jail. Yeah, clever, clever, clever.
Ujola says, there's no way. I'm so broke right now, I won't think twice. I will use it.
The inconvenient truth, I would definitely spend it. Politicians are living large, spending money that isn't theirs, so why wouldn't I do the same? I'm unemployed and haven't received any favors or help from anyone, so I'm chowing that money. Chowing the money he doesn't even have yet.
And Jamaica Coco says, I would regard this incident as a test for human integrity, the ability to remain faithful, irrespective of the benefits you may encounter as a result. The student should have reported it. That was a brilliant mistake.
Wow, what a mistake, an expensive mistake. Tenza Beach Festival, receiving money in my account can never be an error, but a blessing. Eat the money and testify God's goodness.
And Nicholas Malinga says, why not? Our previous president did it. Politicians are doing it daily. Justification, that's called.
Oh my gosh, okay. Diesel saying, I'll definitely wait for 5 days and see if the bank contacts me. If not, then it was a signal from Mama that my poor kids start living. Use the money. Oh my gosh, I'm loving this.
And Penny Princess says, someone sent me a 600 via Money Market. I was so broke and I needed the money, but I couldn't go. I still have the message in my phone, but I believe the sender became aware and retracted her money. I don't believe in miracle money, so no, I didn't spend it. Good on you, Penny Princess.
Sure.
Zuzega?
All right, morning, ladies. Aish, I'll buy a full tank of fuel first and report it afterwards. Okay.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
Zuzeka, good idea, because that is an expensive exercise anyway. So let's take this a little further, shall we? In our question, we're asking that exact question. If you receive money in error, would you disclose it or would you spend it? Big question. You saw some of the answers. And you know that this relates to the student who spent over 800,000 Rand that had been accidentally paid into her bank account, who will be back in court today. So we've got an attorney on the line. Let's find out what the law says about this. Greg Edelstein is with us. He is from EFG Incorporated. And Greg, thanks so much for chatting to us. So let's start off with the basics. What does the law say? Should we pay it back? Should we don't touch that money? Let's just start. What does the South African law say about a story like this?
Well, morning to you and to all of the viewers out there. The law is quite clear about something like this. In the event that money transferred into your account incorrectly, someone somewhere down the line is going to come looking for that money, and the obligation will be on you to repay it. So in essence, when the money does hit your account and you know it's not yours, you shouldn't be spending it. So all of those Twitter followers that have been sending you tweets saying they wouldn't spend it, I think they are correct, because ultimately they will be called on to repay the money, whether now or at some stage, and they may well face the potential of civil prosecution as well as criminal charges being made against them.
Well, Greg Sakina here, is there a difference? Does the law make any distinction between money that you pick up off the street and money erroneously deposited into your personal bank account?
The principle is the same. However, the application is slightly different, because if someone picks money up off the street and then walks away and that person comes back looking for it, it's very difficult to prove, or first of all find the person, and secondly prove that they took it. Whereas money deposited into your bank account, there is a paper trail. There's a way to trace it. So in that regard, the principle is the same, and it would be tantamount to theft as well. However, it just would be difficult to apply the principles.
So, Greg, a lot of people saying, but listen, it wasn't her fault to begin with. Somebody deposited 14 million rand into her account, which is her account, and then she proceeded to spend the money. But it wasn't her mistake. She didn't sort of steal the money. It was put there into her account. Does she have a case? I mean, if she goes to court and tries to actually, because she is going to court, and if she tries to find herself a way out of this, is there a way out of it? I mean, and let's not forget that she was spending in excess of about 11,000 rand a day. She spent 810,000 rand of that money. But honestly, if we have to look at the case, does she have something to go by?
Well, yeah, and I think that's the thing. She went and spent the money. She didn't do what a prudent, conservative, reasonable person would do, which is try and trace where the money came from, not spend it, and make sure that that money was paid to her correctly. Because, as we all found out, it was paid erroneously, and there's an obligation on her to now repay the money. Had she not spent it, that would have been a lot easier. It certainly would have been a mitigating factor had she spent a lot less and taken more active steps to establish where those funds came from.
I think a question, if I may, Sakina, jump in. What would be the punishment? Obviously, the obvious punishment would be to pay back the money. But, you know, for a student who's on NSFAS, doesn't sound like she has money anyway. Inevitably, would there be a jail sentence for something like this?
Well, I would imagine that's up to the individual judge or magistrate that's tasked with the matter. But ultimately, there has to be some form of repatriation, whether it's over a period of time, how long that may be, is up to the student's individual circumstances. But therein lies the lesson, not to spend money that is not yours. Because ultimately, the person whose money it is will come looking for it.
And just a final one, Greg, coming back to this issue of maybe picking up money off the street or finding it somewhere, do you have an obligation to actually take that to a police station to report that you have, you know, picked up this amount of money at a mall, shopping center, you know, even a stadium maybe? Do you have any obligation there?
The truth of the matter is I think the person should take active steps to see if they can find the person around them that potentially dropped the money or the wallet or the purse. I think a wallet or purse is slightly different because you can trace the person down. The money's a little bit different, and I would imagine, depending on who you're around, if you say, sorry, did you drop this, you might find someone who is not that honest and they'll say, yes, that's mine. So it all depends on the person's individual personality and traits, I would imagine. But yes, you can go and hand it into the police station. Whether that person comes looking for it at the police station, well, that's that individual's prerogative.
Well, thank you so much, Greg Edelstein, for chatting to us. He is, of course, an attorney at EFK Attorneys. Was it, Leanne?
Yeah, it was at EFG Incorporated.
Attorneys.
So talking to us about the law around all of this. And, you know, the other thing to bring into account is that the lady or the student was 28 years old. And so when I threw that age at Sakina was a little bit more like, oh, okay, maybe she should have been more responsible.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, lots of questions. Keep writing to us. We're loving this. Let us get some sports news now. Let's hand you over to Valen.